Acropolis built it in the middle of the 5th century BC. This is a period known for the historians as the Gold Century of Athens. Why we say the Gold Century of Athens? Because in the first years of the century we had the Persian battles. Persians was the main opponent of Greeks back in that time, and the Greeks quite unexpectedly won these series of battles. And I say unexpectedly because they had a lot more army. After that, they didn't have the fear of the enemy anymore. They raised up the civilization. They made Acropolis. And something also very important, if you believe that there is democracy somewhere in the world today, have in mind that somehow started from Athens. So we had for first time people voting in order to elect new representatives. This building on the right used to be the parliament building for Greece till the 1930s and 40s. And this statue, people back in that years, guys, they were believing in the 12 gods. I'm sure that you have heard stories about Zeus and Poseidon and Apollo and the gods. So that was somehow the religion they were following. So Acropolis built it to be the holy and the religious place for the people. And that's why you will see basically temples up there. Okay, it was a place of worship. Let's gonna see now how they made Acropolis. They made Acropolis by a top quality marble which is known as Pentelicon marble. Why we say Pentelicon marble? Because they got it from the mountain Penteli. If you see the map, Athens, it is surrounded by 3 little mountains. One of them, we call it Penteli. So we have Penteli mountain, Pentelicon, the variety of marble. Penteli mountain, it's approximately a distance of 10 to 15 miles from here. So they carry all these stones of marble. Don't ask me how they did that. It is also my question. I mean, we don't have a special proof about how this happened. Although we know that they were sculpturing the main body of the monuments in the slopes of the hill, and after that they had some special mechanisms with ropes in order to bring them up and finish the monuments in the top of the hill. That spot to make the Acropolis. Any ideas? Correct. So, just a little pause here. On the left you can see a statue of Alexander the Great, maybe the most recognizable commander worldwide. And after that, you see the remains of the Temple of Zeus. Just to tell you that the Temple of Zeus was the biggest temple that ever made in Athens and Greece. You will have the chance to see that now. On your left, you will see an open highlight in our city, which is the Adrian Arch, or the Adrian's Gate, telling about the reason that they built the Acropolis in the top of the hill. As you very well mentioned, the obvious reason, the highest spot, always the highest spots, they are a lot more attractive, even today, for somebody, okay? Although, guys, the most important was that they had access to water. Everybody knows that water means life. Imagine if water is important once today, how important it was 2,500 years ago. And we know that there were some natural springs and sources coming from underground, giving them access to the water in the top of the hill. These spots, they don't exist anymore. They had become dry. However, this is the biggest evidence that there was life in the Acropolis hill many years before making the monuments. The historians, they are supposing like 2,000 to 3,000 years. Enter, we call it propylea. Propylea means the pre-entrance, the pre-gate. Again, you are familiar because this is something that you also do in your English language. You use the word pre in front of a word in order to describe something which is before, right? Okay. So that was somehow the preparation to a holy and religious place. Right next to it, you will see a small temple of the god Athena Nike. The god Athena was a very important god for the Athenians, guys. The god Athena, first of all, it was one of the 12 gods. Here we are. It was one of the 12 gods. She was especially the god of wisdom. She was daughter of Zeus. She was the protector god in the minds of the Athenians. Plus, that she was the god that gave the name to the city. Because Athens in Greek, it is Athena. So we say the small temple of the god Athena Nike. Nike in English means victory. So guess what? Again, you know these words, because I'm sure that you know the famous brand Nike, that took the Greek word in order to show that they will be the victorious brand. In my opinion, they made it. But this is nothing to do with the tour, just it's my preference. So, right next to it, you have the major temple of Parthenon. You know, Parthenon, it is a science by itself. It was the biggest temple for the year that they made it. It was the first time that you have 8 columns in the front, 8 in the back, 17 on the sides. It was a temple for the god Athena. It had a big statue of the god Athena in the middle of the temple. Of course, from expensive materials of that period, like bronze, like ivory, like these kind of things. And an amazing handmade pediment around the rooftop. Finally, towards the Parthenon, we have the Erechtheion temple, again a very unique temple. Erechtheion was a temple for the god Athena and the god Poseidon. Poseidon was the god of the seas. And again, very unique, because you will see that one part it is holding by 6 beautiful ladies, the famous Caryatids. And if you check these ladies carefully, you will see that 3 of them, they are standing on the right feet, and the other 3, they are standing on the left feet. And okay, now you might think that, okay, but guys, don't forget, whatever we discuss now, we're speaking about 2,500 years ago. Okay. So the last one I would like to mention is, you can see these arches behind these trees. There is a very nice venue in the slopes of the Acropolis, which is the Odeon of Herodes. It is still active. It can fit more than 5,000 people. During the summer we have music festivals and theater acts. It's pretty magical for me to watch something there. Personally, I'm looking every year to book a ticket in advance for something that I am interested in. So it is very nice to watch something there during the summer with the nice weather, with the lights and the vibes of the Acropolis. Many people support that the most magical night of that venue was 25 years ago when Elton John had came here and gave us a concert. I didn't have a ticket. So all the first section goes like that. And because they already baptized you, the manager, I give it straight to you. So I strongly suggest to spend 5-10 minutes reading this information. And if you share this information plus the 3D pictures, by the time you are up there, I'm sure that you will have a lot more interesting visit. Because the Ancient Agora started to be the politician place, and after that, became the ancient market, the trade center. Inside the archaeological site, you will see the most well-preserved temple we have from the ancient times, and this is the temple of the god Hephaestus. You saw it from the Acropolis, but now you will see it a lot closer. Again, a temple of the 5th century BC. You will see the oldest Christian Orthodox church we have in Athens from the 9th century AD, plus that you can have access to a small and cute museum from the area of the Agora, having artifacts and findings from the archaeological site. I was telling you about democracy in the morning, so Agora was the spot that democracy started to take action. It was for first time that we had people voting in order to elect new representatives. Another very interesting characteristic about democracy was that at the same spot that politicians were preaching in order to convince people for a vote, famous philosophers back of that period were preaching for free to the people in order to educate them somehow or create them another way of thinking and mentality. This is the spot of the passage I was telling you before. So, before dropping you off in the ancient Agora, we will pass by the ancient cemetery of Athens, which is again a very nice archaeological site, and it will help us to understand how smaller the city-state of Athens was back in the ancient times. From the 17th century AD, next to it you will see a mosque that the Ottomans left during their occupation from the 14th century. Next to it you will see some ruins, which is part and the remains of the Adrian's library that you asked me in the morning, and of course in the background you have the Acropolis from the ancient times. At the same time, Monastiraki somehow it is the end of Plaka, so Plaka is the old city of Athens, so it has some very nice connections with small and narrow streets pedestrians where you can walk and enjoy your sightseeing.